Hi again, Bob Forshea, Supply Chain Pro to Know, and today we are back with another installment, this on Sales and Operations Planning, a maturity assessment. And in this segment, we're going to talk about data specifically. I think a lot of people recognize that we run our businesses on data, but we don't always spend enough time and energy focusing on how to manage data well. There's what you might call multiple truths or versions of data in many businesses. And we use a lot of this for reporting, but we need to be able to go beyond that. We need to structure it and manage our data in a way where we can segment it, parcel it. We need to be able to categorize data and be able to access it relatively easily. I know from having worked in a lot of ERP environments, ERP is handling data in data tables, but getting information out of an ERP can be a little challenging. So we do need to focus on how we're going to manage the data, the framework, and of course, what kinds of decisions do we need on a very regular basis. So that means structured data, customer data files, supplier data files, bill of materials, costs, all that. That's pretty standard, but we need to be able to set up data tables that allow us to do snapshot reporting. So here's an example. When you look at cost of purchasing an item, it's relatively easy to get a report that's right out of ERP that shows you what your spend is on a particular product or a commodity, but it's very difficult to get data on landed costs, all the other elements of cost that are created in the process of getting something delivered to you. And so having a data framework is a way to think about what do I need to know on a regular basis for making better decisions. Another layer of consideration here has to do with network visibility and access. You need a central data warehouse, but you also need to have multiple sources of structured inputs and be able to segment that separately, both internally and externally. So that's another way to look at the data puzzle. And finally, data visualization is going to be important from a strategic standpoint. As you evolve through time, you're going to need to have more innovation, more ways to think about storage and distributed data, and especially unstructured data. As we pull more of that into our business process using AI and machine learning, we're going to have to be able to parse that in ways that's very creative. Pulling information through the CRM is another example. You've got a lot of signals happening between customers and your sales side, but very little of that is conveniently and easily transferred into the forecasting process. So having a way to digest that data through the CRM, through good data collection practices, is going to be very important as well. We see a lot of marketing companies doing a really excellent job learning how to parse this kind of data in real time, and then to be able to apply it into specific situations or product lines is going to be where you have more leverage in the future. So hopefully this gives you some ideas around what we need to think about with data management generally, and how this is quickly becoming a competitive advantage in terms of getting the right information into our business process and our decision-making process. And let me close with this final piece of information, or I should say observation. Information replaces inventory. So when we don't have good information or don't feel like we have good information, we make decisions based on just-in-case inventory. And anytime we can go into a decision with better visibility across the entire supply chain, we have the option of creating some advantages because we know more than we did before. We have better visibility across the supply chain network, and with that we can operate in a more efficient way, lowering our overall average inventory. So information replaces inventory. So hopefully this is useful for you today, and we're going to be back with one more segment to talk about systems, and that will be the final part here. We've got 13 parts in the S&OP survey, and have a good day. We'll talk again soon.